Jaya Prabhuji. In one of our meetings, a question was asked: how can I stop my mental activities? It is a very interesting question, and today I want, together with you, to go deep into this question, to check it step by step and to see if the direction of the question can lead us to discover insights of truth in which we will be able to apply into our own life and to develop and advance in the retroprogressive path. When I am thinking about it, the main subject of this question is if I, as someone, can stop my mental activities. Is it possible that I will stop my own mental activities? I will base this inquiry on the verse 1-2 from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And this verse saying that this state, this occurrence that it's called yoga, is happening with the cessation of the mental activities. It's not that I'm going to give any answer to this question. I feel that an answer will always close the topic that we are trying to contemplate about, investigating, instead of opening it to perceive insight of truth and be accessible to accept different point of views. And so I will share from my own process, from my own investigating, and that could serve you as a source of inspiration to your own process. Because eventually what is significant is what is happening to you when you come in contact, when you associate with this topic and your own realization about it. If we will try to look at ourselves, we can identify that to each and one of us has a certain motivation, something that drives us to act, to do things. And the feeling is that in each moment and moment, we are living in order to fulfill our ambition or our goal that we have. It can be an ideal or an inspiration that is coming from within us. And the fact that we are aware to it will naturally bring clarity. And with clarity, understanding. And with that, our ability to align our different inner aspects, such as our psychological, intellectual, or emotional aspects. And also this process of clarity, understanding, and alignment will allow us to develop viveka, which is discrimination. To discriminate between what will bring us closer to the fulfillment of our ideal and what will take us far away from it. And I believe that each decision that we will make will always have significant consequences that perhaps we will not be able to recognize them immediately, but surely in long term. And I would like to give an example. If someone wants to be a doctor, to learn medicine, so he is aware that he is standing in front of a long period of time of intensive studying, and that he will need to study whether if he would like to, whether if it would be comfortable for him. He understands that he will need to do sacrifice, and that this period of time could come on his account of his personal life, his social life, his family life maybe. But the fact that he is one pointed to the fulfillment of his goal surely will bring him closer to it, and also he will develop to become a mature and responsible person. And in the retroprogressive path, we filled with endless inspiration to develop our state of consciousness and to be able to identify what is false and what is real in us, or what is temporary and what is eternal in us, until the recognition of our true nature. Another thing that will help us in this process is acquisition of knowledge. I mentioned before the verse, and I used concepts such as yoga, chitta, vritti, and nirodha. And I would like to make sure that these concepts are clear to each and one of us. For example, what is this state that is called yoga? Is it that now we are situated in a different state that is not yoga? Do we need to do something in order to achieve or to possess in a certain future another state that will be yoga? The concepts chitta, vritti, and nirodha are actually referring to the mind. So what is the mind? What is the nature of the mind? Is the mind is another internal organ that we have? Let's say if we will do an X-ray and we will be able to identify our liver, our heart, our brain, we will also be able to identify the mind. When we are speaking about the mind, we are entering to the path of the Raja Yoga. And the Raja Yoga path is one of the different paths of yoga that for sure you're familiar with, the Hatha Yoga path or Kundalini, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. And in fact, the yoga is one of the 6 darshanas or the 6 schools of the Hinduism religion. that came from the Vedas. And therefore also the Hinduism religion is called Vaidika Dharma. And in the Vedas, we are able to be exposed to the wisdom that came out of the direct realization of the rishis that experience the ultimate reality and shared it to the humanity. Their realization did not come out of intellectual process, but out of a direct experience, Divya Drishti, which is very different from any conclusion that we can come out of a process of thinking. I mentioned before the concept darshana, and I would like to clarify what is this Sanskrit term. And the meaning of the word darshana is a point of view. And I remember that when we learned about it with Prabhuji many, many years ago, he used this example of if 6 people are entering into a dark room, and each one of them would like to experience and describe an elephant made out of marble. So one will touch his nose, one will touch his tail, his ears, his back, his stomach. Each one of them experience the same elephant, but will describe it from their own direct experience. And so are the rishis. The rishis experience the only one true, the only one ultimate reality, but out of their direct experience. And therefore they will share it to humanity in their own unique and special way. We spoke generally about the scriptures of the Hinduism religion, and the basic holy scriptures of the Raja Yoga path is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali Maharishi is a big seer, and he himself experienced the ultimate reality and shared it to humanity in the form of the Yoga Sutras. The meaning of the term sutra is a thread, and actually a sutra is a short sentence that contains maximum of knowledge, information, and wisdom in minimum of words, and sometimes is recommended to inquire the meaning of sutras from Tattvadarshini, from one that he himself saw the truth and can share this wisdom from his direct realization. I think that it will be our benefit in order for us to have a certain direction to the question that was asked, if we will know a little bit about this path of Raja Yoga. Of course, this path is very wide and deep, but I will try to give a short explanation about what is the essence of this path. I remember that actually not long ago, I listening to one of the talks that we had with Prabhuji many, many years ago. And there, Prabhuji was telling a story about a king that wanted very much to know what are the feelings of the common people. What are the conflicts that they are dealing with? What is their daily attitude that they are holding? And so what he did is he exchanged his royal clothes. He dressed as a simple common person, and he walked around among the common people. But although that externally he looked exactly like them, still he couldn't understand their feelings. He couldn't become closer to their conflicts, to their daily routine of life. He couldn't become closer to their attitude. And he got into the conclusion that the only way for him is to forget that he's a king. And then Prabhuji continued and he said that you are in your essence a king. You are in your essence the divinity, the king of the kingdom. You will keep looking for the king, but you will never find him because you never lost him. And in regard to this, I would like to read a small paragraph from the chapter Raja Yoga in his book Yoga Union with Reality. This yogic path teaches us to transcend the mind with all its concepts and preconceived ideas about ourselves, and to discover our true identity above all limited mental conclusions. It is a path that leads us from what we believe ourselves to be to what we really are. In the story that I just shared with you and in this paragraph, we can find something very essential in the wisdom that Prabhuji is sharing with us. What Prabhuji is telling us is that the recognition of our true nature, the retroprogressive path, is not a path that we need to do something in order to achieve something in a certain future. And even more than that, Prabhuji is not offer any solution to any kind of a problem. He will always send you to yourself. Go and check, doubt it, investigate it, discover. Prabhuji will not offer any kind of a system or a technique or a method or a sādhanā that we will need to practice in order to achieve something else. What Prabhuji is telling us is that our true nature is already here, right now, in each and one of us, but we are not paying attention to it. We so fascinated from the external world of names and forms, and our attention is carried to something else. Out of our condition of forgetfulness, confusion, illusion, ignorance, what in the yoga path is called Maya, we think that we are something else. We believe that we are something separate. And this is the deep belief that Prabhuji is talking about, that we are holding so much. And so the retroprogressive path is a path of remembering, of develop our awareness to what is right now in each and one of us. And in order for us to understand a little bit more what is this deep belief that we are holding, I would like shortly to explain what are the different functions of the mind. And in Vivekachudimani, verses 93 and 94, Shankaracharya explained what are the different functions of the mind. The Anatakarana, or internal organ, is called manas, buddhi, ahankara, or chitta, according to its respective functions. The mind is also called Atma, which is the self, the pure consciousness. And so, in fact, the mind is a construction of the pure consciousness inside a body, inside a form. And this is what creates the false reality of duality, of subject and object. The mind is acted out of four main functions, and one of it is the manas. When the mind acts as manas, it acts from the subconsciousness level and from the instinctive level. And the mind is like another sense going outside to the external world, like a radar, observing the different objects and perceiving their pros and cons, their sankirpa and vikirpa, what can satisfy his needs, his desires, and bring him pleasure. And when the mind is function as manas, it identifies with the senses and with the body. And the mechanism that motivates it is the survival mechanism. Another function of the mind is the chitta. The chitta is like a warehouse where we storage all our events, memories, experiences that we had, not only from this current body, but also from past incarnations. The buddhi is another function of the mind, and when the mind is acting as buddhi, is acting from the intellectual level. That, of course, this level is much more elevated from the instinctive level. And in this level, the mind perceives all the impressions from the manas. It considers them, evaluate, discriminate them, and eventually arrive into a conclusion, into a decision. Also from this level, the self-inquiry, the atma-vichara, or the question, who am I, is born. But at the same time, also the understanding of the limitation of the mind and the recognition that the answer to this question cannot come from the mind, cannot come from intellectual process, but from much more elevated state, which is the intuitive state. And in the intuitive state, the rishi or the enlightened one experienced the ultimate reality, and he himself become a self-evident and become the answer of the question, who am I? And the enlightened one uses the manas, the instinctive level, and the buddhi, the intellectual level, in harmonized way in order to function and communicate in this world. Another function of the mind is the ego or the ahankara. And actually, the ego is our identification, our deep identification with the I idea, with the I thought. And this is actually the problem, because we identify with this I thought, and this identification creates the reality of subject and object, that I am the subject and everything else is the objects, and the I is me, is I want, I don't want, I prefer, I don't prefer. And this strong identification is what creates the feeling of I exist. And the ahankara is born from the moment that we identified with the name that we got, and all the ideas and opinions and feedbacks and impression that we got from our environment, from our parents, from our family, from our friends, neighbors, all the environment that surrounded us. It is our religion, it is our economical situation, and the mind is the I, the ahankara, the ego is born from the external. And this is the strong and so deep and rooted belief that we have about ourselves, that we are this I idea. We are this I thought. This is what we believe ourselves to be. When Patanjali Maharishi mentioned the concept chitta, he actually includes inside all the different aspects, all the different functions of the mind. So the mind is movement of vrittis, of thoughts, and the speed of this movement, this is what gives us the feeling that the mind is something tangible, that is an object. Patanjali Maharishi also mentioned the concept nirodha, and nirodha is the higher state, the fifth state of the mind, where the mind reaches to a state of peace and tranquility and is able to emerge, unite with the whole, with the pure consciousness. Shortly, I explained what are the concepts of chitta, vritti, and nirodha. What is this state that is called yoga? I would like to read a small paragraph from his book, Yoga, Union with Reality, where Prabhuji is reading a lot about this state that is called yoga. I just choose a small paragraph that I want to read it. Yoga is the re-encounter of what we believe ourselves to be with what we really are. It is the encounter of what we imagine ourselves to be with our reality. Ultimately, yoga is the re-encounter with oneself. The Sanskrit term yoga means union, harmony. And for the mind, if there is a state of unity, for sure there is another state of separation. And the mind is doing an effort to achieve this state of union and reject this state of separation. And this is what creates a conflict. But yoga is not an achievement from any external situation. There is nothing external that can situate us in the state of yoga. Not a mantra, not a book, not a practice. Because yoga is our source. Yoga is our natural position. And with that understanding, no effort is needed, and the conflicts fade away. And the question that was asked, how can I stop my mental activities? How you can stop your mental activities? You are your mental activities. So how can you stop yourself? Only in the path of meditation, in the path of observation, observing anything that can be observed. Close your eyes. Try to relax. Bring your awareness to your body, the most tangible and close to ourselves. Pay attention to your back touching the chair. Your feet touching the floor. Try to bring your awareness to even more subtle level. Your breathing. Pay attention that you don't need to do any effort to breathe. Pay attention to the air coming in with any inhalation and going out with any exhalation. Let's bring our attention to even more subtle level, our thoughts. Pay attention to any thought that comes and let her go. Don't identify with it. Don't judge it. Don't hold into it. Just let her go. And then you will discover the space which is between each and each thought. And that this space is becoming bigger and bigger. And in this space is where you are not. And the pure consciousness is your true nature. And allow to these states of yoga to be. Jaya Prabhuji.